Houston, our instruments are showing that we have a incoming message from deep space. Repeat, Houston, we have an incoming message from deep space. Houston, we'll begin playing message now. Houston, we're going to try and translate that up here. Hold for translation. Translation complete. We'll begin playing message now.
Hey, it's me, Melissa.
What do you do when the aliens invade? Take a shot of MK Ultra and watch Melissa Jade. Put on your tinfoil hat and tune right in. We got that crime spree, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, a complex Mandela effects, unidentified objects, a mind expanding, fake moon landing, what are dolphins understanding? It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Aliens is on the sun or in Area 51. Time travels, unravels, haunted castles, cops are baffled, potential experimental thoughts that make you transcendental. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Crime sprees, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, complex Mandela effects, unidentified objects, a mind expanding, fake moon landing, what are dolphins understanding? It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa.
Hey guys. Hey ET Lady, Wolfie, Corey Reeves. Hello, Bree5. Welcome, MK. SoFlo Mama, so lovely to see you. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Red Raider, Mel O, Cool Gamer, Joe, Amber, Packless, K Breeze, Michelle, and Deb. Hey guys. Hi, Kim. 87. Hi guys. Okay, so it's been a few days since I've last been on, and I wanted to go over some stuff with you guys. And so let me pull up. There's a couple of articles I wanted to go over. Hello again, MK. That are interesting. I actually just saw Allie had just a pre-recorded and just went over this one article too. But first, I want to talk to you guys because remember when we spoke about Kim? I hope you had an amazing weekend, Sofa Mama. Hi, Bob. Hi, Riddler. So remember when we went over and discussed Kim, right? And I said, we don't know anything she says is credible. She sounds a lot like that Megan from the Kylie Rodney case. Wolfie. Whatever. Hi, Dustin, Patty. So Kim is legitimate. And when I say, there you go. When I say legitimate, I don't know if her story is legitimate. What we do know is that we were able to verify that she is real. She does have 2 children who go to WSU. Her daughter, Maddie follows her daughter on social media. Kaylee doesn't. We don't know about Xana because Xana's social media stuff is private. But she does. She does. Hey, Allie. She does have 2 kids who go to WSU, and everything like that is accurate. Now the question is what she is relaying accurate? I was a little bit surprised. Like you asked Wolfie, I was like, wow, like, so her story is true. And when I say her story, just even some of it at least is true. But I don't know. Like, what do you think, Wolfie? Like, she turns out to be legitimate. What do you think about what she's alleging?
I don't believe her.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't. Because it's hearsay.
Do you think that there's any legitimacy to what she's alleging?
I mean, some of it, sure.
Which parts?
I don't know. I really don't know.
I think, Allie says, I still think the story is BS. I want to see the text her daughter got that morning, then I'll believe it. Well, it wasn't even her daughter. It was her daughter's friend, if I'm not mistaken, right? It was her daughter's friend. But that's what I said, because we went through, last time we were on, we went through the drunk turkey stuff, and these are the receipts that were provided. Hold on. So they were the messages. What did they all delete? They deleted out of my StreamYard, Wolfie.
What?
My messages. Oh, hi, I'm Yanka. Hey, K-Braze, if that's all true, then why lie about everything to make it seem fake? That's the part that I was interested in, K-Braze. Okay, so I was, honestly, I had the, hi, Christina. I'm under the mind frame always. Nope. Do not believe it unless you could prove it to be true. Don't believe it until you prove it to be true. That's only because we have seen so many times, again and again, that it's bullshit in these situations. Now, to verify that she is indeed like a WSU mom, she does have these two children who go to WSU. We do know that Maddie followed this girl, her daughter, on social media. It's like, okay, all of that could be true and everything she alleged could be false at the same time. Just because those facts are true does, it's not synonymous with what she's alleging to be true. I think that if you watch the Dateline interview, it is crazy, Allie. But if you watch the Dateline interview, you see how her friends heard about things on campus too. Hi, Daleen. And then you have another friend, you have Keely's mom who said that she found out originally from her niece who called her, who has a friend who's on campus who said that Keely got shot. So in my mind, what I think may have happened is, how quick things get around. And if friends really were summoned to the residence, right? We don't know what time. And I think that that's the biggest factor here is when friends were summoned to the residence, what time? Was it hours earlier? Was it around the same time 911 was called? That's the part that I can't understand. But let's say it happened a little bit earlier. Cops show up. I'm sure there was a lot of gossip around those streets, like, yo, the cops are here. This is what I heard. And that's why Kaylee's mom may have heard originally that Kaylee got shot, because at that point it was just like kind of boink, 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 going back and forth with a bunch of speculation. And I think that speculation may have been relayed back to Kim, the mom, and then the mom kind of just snowballed it from there. That's what I think. But unless she could produce some type of receipt that shows that somebody was contacted prior to 911 being called about these murders, you can't put much weight into it. She's not lying what she heard, but she told it. Well, I think she's playing a very dangerous game. If indeed what she's saying is what she believes is truth, why are you repeating any of that? Like, it's not going to help. It's only going to hurt. But it should be very, like, instead of showing these phone records, which look a bit sketchy, I'm not saying that they're not legit, but the phone records, hey, Punkette, the phone records that was showed are easily fabricated. It doesn't really show anything other than you called the tip line for 30 minutes on this day, which, to be fair, a lot of people who lived in that area were calling the tip line with a bunch of different things. Hi, K-Star. Been trying to get here, but have a lot of catching up on my... Oh. Well, that's okay. I haven't been on in days, K-Star, so you haven't missed anything. You believe the affidavit, Mello? I do. The question I have is about the friends being summoned. You guys know that that's been hung up in my mind from the beginning, from the moment they said that. Now, that doesn't mean that anybody, any survivors or anything like that is guilty. I have questions regarding it, and when they were summoned. Were they summoned hours prior? Were they summoned around the same time cops were called? Yes, I have questions regarding that. But I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I was very surprised to see that Kim is legitimately Kim, and she does have these 2 children who go. What do you mean there were 2 phones at the house, Mello? Hi, Susie. So good to see you. What phones, Mello? Hi, Wandering Sub. Just Carrie. It's weird, Just Carrie. Like, while we were watching the press conference live, I wrote that down. I still have my notebook with it on. Like, I wrote down summon friends to residence, question mark, question mark, question mark. Like, and I circled it 3 times because I was like, what does that mean? Hey, Rena and Alicia. Hold on. I thought BS, some mom wants to be. Well, that's what it seems like. Yeah, and Alicia, absolutely. You didn't believe the Tinder girl? Honestly, I never put. The only time I even watched the Tinder girl video was on Allie's channel. I never even put too much. Like, it was. Listen, I watch everything and I take it with a grain of salt. You know, I have it in the back of my mind, but I don't put too much weight into anything. But I was surprised. I was surprised. Hey, headphones. I did not expect Kim to even be Kim. She really very much resembled Megan from the Kylie case. She sounded very much like Megan from the Kylie case. And it makes me not close the door completely. Hey, Bren. It makes me not close the door completely to everything she said. But I think that there might be little nuggets of truth and the rest is just fluff. I think that her daughter may have relayed something she may have heard, and then from there, Kim just spiraled it and it snowballed. And yeah, sure, this little piece may be true and that little piece may be true, but the rest is just fluff. But the question is which nuggets are the truth? Because, you know, they're very significant. Watching everything, believing nothing, that's how you have to do it. It's hard. I call one of my kids' names and my other kid says, hey, you've been summoned. And it takes me back to the press conference. Yeah. Hey, MK Ultra. Oh, of course, MK. You were in the ISS. Hi, American Princess. So it's interesting. I was very, very interested. Like, again, she is legitimate, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything that she's sharing is legitimate. I think that there's a reason that Olivia took that interview down, but it makes me concerned. That's the point, ET lady. If it was legit, why are you sharing this publicly? That could very, very much so hurt the case. Hey, Judy Jennings. Oh, okay. Well, it's a known fact that in all of nature, the wolf is the only animal to refer to themselves in third person. MK with the majestic beard. You know what I find interesting about BK is is kind of a fusion of so many different speculations. Like, he kind of hit the criteria for various theories about the suspect. He did pirate radio. You're right. It said in the PCA that there were already people called and were there. They didn't say there were already people called. They said that friends were summoned to the residence prior to the first officer responding. That is all we know. Yeah, Super Greek. Well, to be fair, we don't know what else they know. So we know that the defense requested for the discovery and stuff. And I think the 30th. No, hold on. Let me figure out the day. All right. So it says state's response to request for discovery to the defendant, Brian Christopher, Koberger, and counsel Ann Taylor, which we're going to get into that again. Hi, Contrary Marge. Comes now the state in the above titled matter and submits the following response to request for discovery. The state has compiled and will continue to comply with such request by providing the following. 1. any relevant written or recorded statements made by the defendant or copies thereof within the possession, custody, or control of the state, the existence of which is known or is available to the prosecuting attorney by the exercise of due diligence, and also the substance of any relevant oral statement made by the defendant, whether before or after arrest, to a peace officer, prosecuting attorney, or the prosecuting attorney's agent have been or will be disclosed or otherwise made available. See Exhibit A. 2. Any written or recorded statements of a co-defendant and the substance of any relevant oral statement made by a co-defendant, whether before or after arrest, in response to interrogation by any persons known by the co-defendant to be a peace officer or agent of the prosecuting attorney, have been or will be disclosed or otherwise made available. 3. Defendant's prior criminal record, if any, has been or will be disclosed or otherwise made available. 4. Any books, papers, documents, photographs, tangible objects, buildings, or places, or copies or portions thereof, which are in the possession, custody, or control of the prosecuting attorney, and which are material to the preparation of the defense or intended for use by the prosecutor as evidence at trial or obtained from or belonging to the defendant, have been or will be disclosed or otherwise made available. In addition, deputies and officers from the Latah County Sheriff's Office, including the Idaho State Police, Moscow PD, Idaho Fish and Game, and other law enforcement agencies, may record their law enforcement contacts via an audio recorder or audio-video recorder. Any audio and video recordings related to this matter are available for review and duplication on request, subject to the provisions of ICR. Any results or reports of physical or mental examinations and of scientific tests or experiments made in connection with a particular case or copies thereof within the possession, custody, or control, a written list of the names and addresses of all persons having knowledge of relevant facts who may be called by the state as witnesses at the trial, which kind of, would Kim not fall underneath that? Like, if you have any knowledge of any relevant facts, you could be called as a witness. Why is your name Wolfie is better than MJ?
Because I am.
Wow. All right. I just saw that. How rude. Hey, Lori. So any record of prior felony convictions, any written summary of report of any testimony that the state intends to introduce pursuant to X, Y, and Z, any reports or memoranda in possession of the prosecuting attorney, which were, where is it? It jumped, I don't know. All material information within the prosecuting attorney's possession or control which tends to negate the guilt of the accused as the offense charged, or which would tend to reduce the punishment, therefore, have been or will be disclosed or otherwise made available. To the extent that information exists regarding an informant, okay, hold on, because people are making a big deal about this. To the extent that information exists regarding an informant who is not going to be produced as a witness, including recordings or written statements of an informant or that identify an informant, such information is not subject to disclosure, and the state asserts informant privilege under XYZ. Now, because of that piece right there, hi, Unsolved Cases and News, Kelly searches for answers, Ivette, anybody who came in, people think that there's an informant now. No. Not necessarily. Could there be? Sure. But this is normal standard protocol as far as this type of legal paperwork. And so all it's doing is covering the possibility that there is an informant, but it does not mean that there is. Does that make sense? Like, it covers the bases in case there is, but it's not saying there is. The state objects to requests by the defendant for anything not otherwise addressed above on the grounds that such requests are outside the scope of XYZ. Whether this response indicates that certain evidence or materials have been or will be disclosed or otherwise made available, such indication should not be construed as confirmation that such evidence or materials exist, but simply as an indication that if such evidence or materials exist, they have been or will be disclosed. See what that just said? Just because we're requesting it does not mean that it exists. We're requesting it in case it does exist. That's how it works. Furthermore, any items which are listed Exhibit 8, this is all just kind of mumble. I hereby certify that a true and correct copy of the foregoing state's response to request for discovery was delivered to the following as indicated, e-filed and served and emailed. So police reports and documents covered by ICR 16, which are in the possession of the state, have been disclosed to counsel for the defendant as of January 23rd, 2023. These materials consist of page numbers 1 through 995. So there's 995 pages to this discovery, audio and video, and then photos. Photo 1 through 1,865. So 1,865 photos, but notice the audio and video, and I think that audio and video may be the neighboring CCTVs that caught the groans and the thumps and the cryings. Is that what you think, Wolfie?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Super Geek said, can you explain why there's one video provided when the camera said they have Koberger on video circling the area trying to park and they have him on video matching the pings? Maybe it's the same camera. I'm not sure. Do you have an idea, Wolfie? Because if they do have him on footage on all these different, like, I'm assuming that this neighbor's camera right here, this is the one that picks up the thumps and moans and cries and Murphy barking. Maybe this is the same camera that also has him. Do we know actually from because it says where they see him?
Well, there's another one that's on Linda Lane that might have got him at when he went all the way down King Road.
Right. So why would they? That's actually a good question. Why would they only include that one audio or video file?
Well, you wouldn't.
And Alicia.
I don't know.
She said, Wolfie, these one-word answers aren't cutting it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I don't think they've given everything yet. Oh, hold on. Everything yet. I understood it was in the process of happening. Yeah. It means if it's one camera, they would do the same for pit. Yeah, that's true, Super Geek. That's true. I'm not sure. I don't have an answer for you. I'm not sure. Hi, Andy. I think I say on camera has 3 people in it. Are you talking about the gas camera footage that came out first? Because I don't think that was his car.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not his car. But okay. Let me pull these up. Hold on. So Allie had just gone over this too, actually, this one right before I went live. But you know what? I'll wait for after because I want to talk about again Anne. Here it is. She's now represented 3 of these victims' family members. So it's Cara Zana's mom, Maddie's stepmom, and her dad. Hey, sarcastic. Yeah, Yvette. Okay, so hold on. Let me pull this down. This is insane. Tell me how this isn't. I don't know. I would think it's a freaking conflict of interest, but why leave the potential for this to become an issue down the road? I don't understand. Because while Anne was still representing Cara, she was already at the Idaho house investigating. You don't see that as an issue? She was still representing, yes, Lori. She was when she was at that house. How is that okay? So you're leaving this opened opportunity for him to turn around down the line and say that he had ineffective counsel or biased, whatever he wants to do. Why? Now, someone said that both Brian and the judge have to sign off. did Brian sign? I don't know. It is fishy. Okay, so look. So Idaho murder suspect Brian Koberger's lawyer also represented Maddie Mogen's parents. So Ann Taylor has represented at least 3 parents of her client Brian Koberger's alleged victims. 3! Yeah. Brian Koberger's defense attorney previously represented at least 2 more of his alleged murder victims' parents. Ann Taylor has represented the families of at least 2 of Koberger's alleged victims in the November 13th home invasion ambush attack that killed 4 University of Idaho students. Koberger is accused of breaking into a Moscow, Idaho house in the middle of the night and killing Maddie, Kaylee, both 21, as well as their 20-year-old housemate, Xana, and her visiting boyfriend, Ethan. His lawyer was actively representing Kernodle's mom at the time of his arrest and had previously worked for Mogen's father and stepfather. Taylor withdrew from an active case against Kernodle's mother almost a week after she had been assigned to defend Koberger following his arrest in Pennsylvania, where police and the FBI took him into custody after a raid on his parents' house in the Poconos. Taylor previously represented Mogen's dad, Benjamin Mogen, on multiple drug charges in 2020. Mogen's stepmom, Corey Hattrick, had Taylor represent her on drug charges last year. Taylor was previously replaced on that case, records show. So Taylor has not responded to requests for comment from Fox News Digital. Latah County Magistrate Judge Megan Marshall has limited attorneys, investigators, and other parties close to the Koberger case from discussing it with the media. However, her gag order is limited to specific aspects of the case. So then it has right here the gag order, all the information. Edwina Ecklox, a boys-based criminal defense attorney whose high-profile clients have included the alleged cult mom murder suspect Lori Vallow, said that withdrawing from Kara Kernodle's case in particular presented ethical concerns. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, she said. It just doesn't seem right. So this picture right here, you guys, she still represented Kara, Xana's mom, when she was here. This photo right here. How is that okay? I don't understand. I really don't. So it says defense attorney Ann Taylor joins investigators' visit to King Road crime scene on January 3rd. The house was the scene. Yeah, we all know that. So, especially after Kara Kernodle claimed in a televised interview that she had been blindsided by Taylor's withdrawal from her case. You have to let your clients know what's going on, even if they are not fans of it, she said. And this woman appears to not know what's going on. Bless her heart, she doesn't look like she's doing well across the board. Attorneys are tasked with making their own determinations of potential conflicts of interest, she said, and will typically turn down a new client if they have a pre-existing relationship that presents a conflict, which again, guys, Brian is the conflict of interest, not Kara. Brian's the conflict. She should have turned down Brian. But these lawyers themselves determine whether or not it's a conflict. So it said, however, she noted Kootenai and Latah counties are in rural areas where there are few attorneys qualified to take such a high-profile death penalty case. It's not normal, but again, this case isn't normal, she said. Latah County is a much smaller jurisdiction when there may not have been the resources and have somebody that is qualified to deal with the magnitude of this case. It also may have taken a couple of days for Taylor to discover the conflict, and courts were closed over the New Year's holiday. A Los Angeles-based defense attorney whose clients have included Michael Jackson and Scott Peterson said, "It's not the most popular thing to do, so you know that she's not doing it necessarily for her career. She's doing it because I'm assuming as a criminal defense attorney and a believer in the concept of a fair trial and our constitutional rights, she's doing what she believes is her calling and her job, and that is to defend a defendant who's been arrested and charged, even if it's seen as a heinous crime to everyone. It's what she does." Former federal prosecutor Naomi Ramani told Fox News Digital that if Taylor has to cross-examine the parents at some point, that could also create a potential, I'm not sure what that word is, appellate issue? I'm not sure. It's a potential conflict of interest at best, and maybe an actual conflict if Taylor received confidential information related to the Kohberger case from any of the victims' parents. 2 other housemates were unharmed, including one who police say witnessed a masked man with bushy eyebrows leaving through a sliding door after the stabbings. Gonsalves's dog survived the attack, and police later said they found possible animal hair while serving a search warrant at Kohberger's apartment. All 4 victims attended Moscow. Police allege Kohberger, who lived about 10 miles away from Pullman, stalked the house a dozen times before the slayings and returned to the scene hours later. Investigator found a K-bar sheet. So it says, through Taylor, Kohberger waived his right to a speedy preliminary hearing and isn't due back in court until June 26. He is expected to challenge the evidence in proceedings that could take the whole week. Prosecutors turned over hundreds of documents to the defense last week. In the meantime, he is being held without bail at Atlanta County Jail. So, Wolfie, don't you think that this is a conflict of interest?
I mean, at first, I didn't, and now I just don't know. I don't know enough to know.
That's
because
if answer. I don't know enough to know.
Well, if Maddie's, I mean, if Xana's mom wasn't actually being seen, she hadn't been in court, I don't know if they just kind of passed her on from the last case onto this one. I have no idea how it works.
Keep in mind that Anne is Kara's power of attorney too.
True.
She's her power of attorney. She gets to make all rights for Kara. Like, that is, I would assume, okay, the way I see it is, yes, are they smaller? Do they may not have as many people, like a wide amount of varying options to choose from to defend Brian? Sure. Is the person that they may have to get if moving from Anne farther and the distance? Yeah, maybe. But don't you want an airtight case? Like, are you really going to leave the door for a mistrial or overturn or some crap to happen? What are you guys talking about in the chat?
The car.
What car?
The Elantra. They told us what to look for when? December 7th?
Yeah, about that, yeah. Why? What are you guys saying?
Well, I mean, people are wondering why they didn't include the 2014 to 2016. And
at first, they thought it was a...
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And then the question is, when they found out it wasn't...
Why didn't they? Yeah.
Why didn't they? At that point,
my
I think
thing
they already
is,
knew.
People still don't know. Like, I'm still seeing in thumbnails people posting the car outside of the house where supposedly, one of the guys stayed, right? The house. I don't want to say his name because I'm just not going to. But that car, that white car is a Subaru Impreza. It's not even an Elantra, but people are still thinking that's an Elantra. That's the problem. People don't know the difference because the 5th generation of an Elantra is 2011 to 2016, right? And
don't ask me, right?
2011, I'm telling you, but 2011 to 2013 has very minor differences to the 2014 to 2016. Very minor. You have to know what you're looking for, right? So it's easily to be missed. So if people didn't even know, they're seeing a white car and they're like, oh my God, it's the car. No, that's not even it. That's a Sonata. This one over here, it's an Impreza. Like, people don't even know what they're looking for. So I don't know.
I think that when they found out that, oh, it's actually, 2015 they're looking for it, they already had Brian in mind, so they didn't so much need to come out and ask us. They already kind of were on his trail.
Yeah, I mean, I think that too, but why they didn't ever tell us that? I mean, you it does make you wonder. I mean, I've definitely thought of that, but maybe I think Mel O said, they didn't want to spook him. That makes sense.
Yeah, that actually does make sense. Yeah, maybe they didn't want to.
But it just leads to a lot of BS coming in with tips.
What would put Brian at 2 places? Sorry, I was reading that article, so I missed whatever your guys' conversation was.
What would put Brian at 2 places? What do you
Super
mean?
Greek, they could turn around and be like bias. That you can't prove that Anne didn't have a bias towards these parents.
What do you mean Brian at two different places?
The timeline they presented, what specifically, Yvette? That's right. That too, yeah. A Husker do and a Husker don't. I don't know what that means, but okay. Yeah, but you'll have to specifically tell me what part of the timeline is conflicting. Well, it's terrible for everyone, that Jade. The way I see it is it's leaving room for something you don't need to leave room for on all sides. They said the car captured on camera, but also had him circling at that time.
What? I'm sorry, I still don't understand.
They captured him on video, yes, circling. So where's the conflict? No, they didn't, Mellow.
No, they didn't. They didn't. And people are forgetting too that Washington and Idaho both, you have to have a front and back license plate. At the time, he had Pennsylvania plates, so he only had to have.
No, they didn't, Yvette. That was never. See, this is the problem. That was never law enforcement who came out with that gas station footage. That was the gas station attendant.
And I never thought that was an Elantra, just to be clear.
Yvette, that was the gas station attendant who said, hey, on my night shift, I was scrolling around footage from this night. This is what I found. Then news sources covered it. But that was never law enforcement, and that's never been confirmed his car.
And you can go back. I've always said I didn't think that was an Elantra.
So if anything, no, law enforcement didn't put it out.
They didn't.
It was the news sources.
That's why you see a cell phone in the reflection of the video. They don't need
to correct it, Yvette. Why do they have to correct it?
They didn't put it out, so they're not going to correct anything.
They don't need, and so basically you're saying, hey, that it's contradicting. No, they put the affidavit out. That was their only thing that they need to put out. They don't need to sit here and go through. Do they need to tell us Kim is lying for it to be, you know what I mean? Like that. No. They never put it out, so they never needed to correct it. It was the media who jumped on it because it went viral on social media, but law enforcement never said that was Brian's car. So it's not conflicting. All it's doing is basically debunking that was ever his car. Exactly, Michelle. Yeah. Yeah.
And all I'm trying to say is law enforcement got that footage, yes, but they didn't release it. But they have a clearer picture, I'm sure, that can rule out that it's not that car. Mm-hmm. Especially if they have him at the house. But again, he had Pennsylvania plates, so he only had to have a back plate. He did not have a front plate.
There is, Yvette. Yes, there is. They have him on leaving his apartment. Let me pull up the piece here. Hold on. maybe you didn't see it, but they exactly state where they found him. They even have him leaving WSU. They have him on multiple cameras going to the house.
Hold on.
This is this is the search warrant. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
What?
Check my chat.
Oh, I'm trying to get that.
Hustles. God.
I'm trying to get the PCA. Hold on.
Oh God.
No, not this. This is case summary. 1 second. Because it explains exactly where they have him on camera, where he's pinging, where his phone's pinging, everything.
You know, JLR likes to really not even show a whole picture. Like he was putting out that this is the Elantra outside the sorority house. No. He didn't even show the front of it. That would easily show that it's
Debunk
not.
that it's not even a Elantra. Right.
It was a 2017 and up. So no.
I don't think. Yeah, I think JLR hustles with misinformation. I mean, I could hustle with it too. What does that mean?
Yeah, he'll go back.
You
in
know,
time.
it's a lot easier.
He'll go
I'll
back
tell
in
you
time
this.
and change the name of his videos, right? To add Brian Koberger.
Right.
before.
Yeah. Like, exactly. Yeah. JLR will go back after, Brian Koberger arrested today. He'll go back to his video from 4 days ago and change his thumbnail and title to include Brian as if he knew that. Yeah, sure. He hustles with bullshit. If that's the type of person you want to follow, that's on you. I prefer facts.
He showed a Corolla too. Well, I know he showed an Elantra, but it was a 2017 or newer. He just left out the front part that easily shows.
Through. It debunks, right? So he, like, just keep in mind, he's one of those people, hi Valerie, who's gonna put forward misinformation just because it brings in the clicks. Simple as that. That's the type of information you want. You know, that's on you, but that's not the type of shit I put out. Okay, so let me scroll down to where he is seen. His movements are seen. Because you're saying he wasn't caught on one camera one time besides being outside that house. That's false. Okay. So this is explaining that they did the video canvas. Okay. It says a review of camera footage indicated that suspect vehicle 1 was obscene traveling westbound in the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steiner Avenue at 3:28 a.m. So it says multiple sightings of suspect vehicle 1 starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering a fourth time at approximately 4:04 and then booking it at 4:20. Then it's next observed traveling southbound on Walenta Drive. Let me go down because it even gets it from it.
And there's only one place that you can be going southbound on Walenta. So I think the camera that is the one that caught the thud and the cries, I think that same camera spotted that car leave that way. That's just my opinion.
Here it is, right here. Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus. A review of that video indicated that at 2:44 A white sedan, which is consistent with the description of white Elantra known as Suspect 1, was observed on WSU surveillance camera traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. At approximately 2:53, suspect vehicle 1 was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman towards SR 270. That connects Pullman to Moscow. Then that camera footage was provided approximately 5:25. The car is seen on 5 cameras in Pullman and on WSU campus cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan was located at 1300 Johnson Road. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road. Johnson Road leads directly back to West Palouse River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Conestoga Drive. The white sedan was then observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and northwest on SR 270. At approximately 5:27, it was observed on cameras traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street. So what do you mean it wasn't caught on any cameras besides outside the house? He was caught traveling from his apartments, hitting the cameras along the way, and then from the King Road residence, hitting the cameras on the way back. So I don't know what you mean that there is no other video footage. It's all literally in the PCA.
And again, I would like to reiterate that this car has one plate because it was at the time registered through Pennsylvania, which only requires one plate. So do you really think that they don't have that this car only has one plate? That kind of like all these people are talking about 22,000 Elantras. Well, you can narrow that down. And you can narrow it down even more, the fact that it only has one plate.
One plate. Where did she go?
And
Have you seen her in the chat?
And the people that are talking about the car resembles and it's not the suspect vehicle, it just resembles it. I mean, later on, they're tracking the same car and they have him get out of the car at Albertsons. So, I mean, how are you going to roll that one out? He got out of the car that they've been watching.
Yvette, are you still here? Because I just went through all of that to show you.
No, I'm pretty sure she left. Oh, wait, she's here.
Okay.
What?
Are you serious? Yvette, I just literally read through all the cameras he was just caught on. From here. Oh my goodness. Right here. These 3 paragraphs all indicate all the cameras he was seen hitting, driving to the Moscow house and leaving from. It's okay, Yvette. Yes, please, Michelle, scream it. So he was seen on numerous cameras at numerous times, leaving his apartment, hitting cameras along the way to Moscow, then at the residence, and then leaving the residence, hitting all the way back. He was seen on multiple cameras. Oh, thank you so much for the super sticker, Sarcastic. I love you. Mwah. Hey, Heather. What if there was someone else that wanted one or all of the victims to die, and let's say that they were other females? Brian was private messaging that someone else, and they put a little nookie on pre. I mean, MK, the way I see it is anything's possible. I'm open to anything, but you got to give me evidence and proof for me to put validity into that theory. Yeah, Detra. And used him to help carry out the crime. If there are other people involved, you guys, it's going to show that, you know? With technology these days, there's a digital footprint with everything. It's hard to believe that if anybody else was involved, that it wouldn't show that. The same way with, like, Kim, if what she's saying is indeed true, the evidence will show that. Hi, B and Gypsy. Contrary Marge, again, I reiterate that if that is indeed the case, they'll know that. Oh, I'm sure they did, Detra.
Melissa,
Yeah.
can you go to page 17, please?
Am I scrolling up? Sorry, I gotta get used to this thing. Okay.
No, that paragraph right above the picture, that's what stood out to me. Because it connects
So at
him
approximately
to that car.
At approximately 12:46 p.m., the 8458 phone then utilized cellular data in the area of the Albertsons grocery store at 400 Bridge Street in Clarkston, Washington. Surveillance footage obtained from the Albertsons showed Kohberger exit the white Elantra, consistent with suspect vehicle 1, at approximately 12:49 p.m. Interior surveillance cameras shows Kohberger walk through the store, purchase unknown items at the checkout, and leave at approximately 1:04 p.m. Kohberger's possible path of travel is depicted below. So that ties Brian to
everything.
The car.
It connects the Elantra to the suspect vehicle, to Brian, to the phone. Like, all of them are right there.
Oh, it's possible, contrary March. I'm not shutting the door to any possibility until all the evidence comes out. But that's all I'm saying is, like, if there's any validity to Kim's story, and listen, at the end of the day, friends were summoned to the residence. We don't know what that means. We don't know what time that was. But there is more to this story. But that does not automatically equate that either of these girls were involved versus friends being summoned prior to calling 911 isn't synonymous with friends being involved. You know, they don't necessarily go hand in hand, even though, yes, is it weird? Is it suspicious? Sure, all of those things. But there may be a rational explanation. We just don't know the information yet. He does, Pirate Radio. Oh, goodbye, K-Star. Have a great night. I hope you get lots of rest. You're amazing. We appreciate you being here. Okay. Then, let me scroll down and get this. All right. So this article comes out and it says why Brian Kohberger's DNA presents problem for prosecution. So the DNA evidence against Brian amounts to a very strong case, but does not necessarily place him at the scene of the crime at the time of the killings. Hold on. Oh, sure, Radine. Sure, 1 second. In a momento. Ray, do you want to take a poll? We've done this before. Let's see how much it's changed. Do we think Brian acted alone? Let's see what people think. Okay. All right. I probably should have added an unsure, but I guess too late. All right, so the poll is up. Do you believe that Brian acted alone? Yes or no? Because I forgot to add an unsure. Oh, it's 50-50. Oh, man, wait a second. 53% saying no. Brian did not act alone. Interesting. 50-50 again. 52 says no. 54 says no. Wolfie, are you voting?
I did. I think he
Okay.
acted alone.
I'm going to let that poll go while I finish reading this article. So it says the bodies were discovered and rented. Okay. Kohberger was arrested. Sorry, these articles are so repetitive, so I try to skip through all of that. So Kohberger said he was eager to be exonerated. So News Nation anchor Natasha said a viewer had brought up what he saw as 5 potential holes in the affidavit that laid out the police's initial case against Kohberger. In the affidavit, Moscow police, said that a tan leather knife sheath had been discovered at the scene of the crime close to one of the victims. Police recovered DNA samples from the Kohberger family home in Pennsylvania on December 27th, and subsequent DNA report concluded that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified as a male as not being excluded as the biological father of suspect profile. The affidavit added at least 99.9998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the suspect's biological father. Zeus said the viewer had gotten in touch to argue that Kohberger's DNA could have ended up there from someone shaking Brian's hand and then touching the sheath shortly after. Commenting on this, guest interviewee and former CIA officer Tracy Walder responded that although the DNA evidence did put Kohberger at the scene of the crime, it did not come with specific timestamp. The DNA is nice to have. It puts him at the scene of the crime, but it doesn't put him at the scene of the crime potentially on the day and around that time. This is a hole that can be poked in the prosecution's case. Individual pieces of evidence don't exist in a vacuum. Walder, a former FBI agent, added, the prosecuting team will take all of it when presenting their case. It's the totality of the circumstances, referencing the DNA evidence, cell phone data, and the description given by a surviving housemate that were listed in the affidavit. But the prosecution nonetheless has a strong case, she argued. The evidence explained in the affidavit does not place Kohberger in that house on the night of the murders. Duncan Levin, a former federal prosecutor who is now a defense attorney, previously told Newsweek. Lara, a criminal defense lawyer who worked on convicted killer Scott Peterson's defense, previously said the evidence against Kohberger is a circumstantial case after all. However, she qualified, when we bring everything together, yes, it does come across as a pretty strong case. Kohberger appeared in court for a second time on January 12th, and his preliminary hearing date is set for June 26th. So what do you think, Wolfie? You think so far with what they have, it's a strong case? I think it is. Unfortunately, do I think it doesn't look good for him, but at the end of the day, is this more circumstantial?
I don't think we know enough. I think they have more that we don't know. And I think it is enough. I have faith that they have more. Plus, they got his phone. I think they're going to get more. Those pings, I think they'll get more from his phone now that they have it. It's just my opinion.
Okay. So the poll. Right now, 55% up. Oh, it's still moving. Sorry. All right. 53% say, yes, Brian acted alone. 47% say, no, he did not act alone. Interesting. So it's pretty much right down the middle.
You should do another one that includes the I don't knows.
I'm sure there's a bunch of I don't knows.
Mine's still alone.
Well, Country March, I do think the not calling 911 and the summoning friends is the biggest issue I have. But all the drugs, we don't have anything about drugs. That is all speculation. We do know 911 wasn't called till almost noon. We do know friends were summoned to the residence prior to 911 being called. But what do we know about the drugs? We don't know anything as far as drugs being involved.
That's all
That
speculation.
is all speculation. They put out their cases 6.5 out of 10, 10 being the strongest. I agree, MK. That's basically, I agree, as far as on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the strongest. They're at a 6.5 right now. What would you say out of 1 to 10, guys? 1 being very, very weak case to 10 being the strongest. Where would you on this scale position numerical value?
With what we know?
Yes, with what we know so far.
6 to 7.
Right, 6.5, right? I think that's very fair.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Heather says 8.5. K-Bray says 5. Michelle says 8, 8.5. Iroll said 7. Kelly searches for answer says 4. I love how everyone has such different opinions. Nay says the evidence that the public has access to is 5% of what they have. It was just enough to create a press. Absolutely. But murder is seriousness, so I wish they'd just call the cops. Oh, I do too, but we have to leave that room. Lisa Lee says 8. Oh, they absolutely have more. Again, that PCA is just enough to convince a judge to hold him on these charges, but as little as possible.
And all these people thought that they didn't have anything, but they had way more than what we thought. So just imagine how much more they have. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly like Lungeman just said, yes.
Oh.
He said they don't have to offer any more evidence than necessary. I feel like they have a ton of evidence. I think they put their best foot forward in that PCA. And so what I think they're holding back on is their DNA in either his residence, car. The car is the gold mine. Being Gypsy says 7. Yeah. The car is the gold mine. That is what I want to know. What is in that car? Yeah, Glenn Jimin.
I think his phone too.
Well, his phone too. Yeah. Yes. Electronics. But the car is, because at least with his apartment, he took over an hour to get back to his apartment. He could have discarded, he could have washed. We don't know where he stopped. If he stopped, we don't know what he did. Like, we know they pinged him, and we know the path of travel because of the PCA, but we don't know if he stopped, for how long, what he did. But with the car, he didn't have time to clean up before he got in the car. He went straight to that car. So that is where I'd expect and anticipate more DNA than so at his apartment. They did let him clean it, yeah. What do you think, Wolfie? The car is a gold mine?
What?
Do you think the car is the gold mine, or are you not putting too much on the car? He did clean it thoroughly.
I mean, if he was wearing like some kind of coveralls or something, he could have just taken them off and like had like a bag, put them in there. So
on his way to the car?
Well, I don't know. I really don't know. So I mean, if he did get in that car with blood, it's hard to get rid of every piece of evidence that would be in that car. So, and fibers too, like
fibers. Yeah, correct.
So I don't know. I guess it could be. Yeah.
I don't think they mentioned searching his office when he was still in Pennsylvania, correct?
Yeah.
But as far as I know, it did not detail whether they seized anything, right?
We don't know. Oh, I haven't seen anything. I'll say that. I just know that they were searching it.
I do too, MK. I wonder where he parked. That's possible. Kelly searches for answers. So we speculated in the PCI. It said, well, in his search warrant, it said that the 2 mattress covers were obtained and seized. Is it possible he used a mattress cover inside his vehicle? I don't think that, 87. We're already working with such a short window of time. I do not see that on his way and his path out from the house to the car, he would have been taking the clothes off. I don't see that. Nothing was found. That's what I thought. Nothing was noted or seized. And to be fair, the entire PCA focuses on Dylan, but Bethany could be more of a witness. Who knows? And then, let me show you guys this. Which you'd be interested in, Wolfie. Well, Allie just went over this right before the live. But Brian and his dad's path of travel. Look. Possibly Kelly, yeah. So it says, Idaho murders investigation. Brian Kohberger vanished for 14 hours while under FBI surveillance. Sorry, that face, both of their faces. It's like, huh?
What? Still loading.
Right now. Uh-oh. No. You guys can still see it. Okay. Hold on.
They're not going to show their hand,
so
especially if it's a winning hand. That's the whole point. You don't show your hand. It was just to get an arrest. It's the bare minimum that they'll give. There's more.
Mm-hmm. So it says sources want. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Wolfie.
What? No, that's all I said.
Wolfie?
Yes.
I interrupted you. I said go ahead.
No, I was done.
Oh. It says sources in law enforcement. Are we on a? Okay. Sources in law enforcement would confide with a bristle of embarrassment not long after the car had pulled out of its space in the graduate housing parking lot in Pullman. They lost it. So the Idaho murders investigation almost hit a major snag just 2 weeks after authorities classified Brian Kohberger as a person of interest, according to a new report. On December 13th, agents with the FBI lost Kohberger. That is the last day that Kohberger headed back home to Pennsylvania from Washington with his father, Michael, who had flown cross-country to join his son on another cross-country trek, but this time by car. Sources in law enforcement would confide with a bristle of embarrassment not long after the car had pulled out of its space in the graduate housing parking lot in Pullman, Washington. They lost it. For several alarming hours or more, the authorities are keeping the precise details of this screw-up close to the vest. The chief suspect in a quadruple homicide that had shocked the nation had seemingly vanished. Airmail reports that Michael spoke about the trip the mechanics who serviced his son's car around the holidays. It is Michael who suggested that the two head off early on the morning of December 13th. Michael allegedly told the mechanics that he went down I-90, a trip that would have taken approximately 36 hours. But Brian, according to what his father told People, insisted the northern route across I-90 promised wintry conditions. Better to head away from the weather, even if it added hours or even a day to the trip. So according to Airmail, Kohberger allegedly button-hooked south toward Colorado, where he'd picked up on I-70. That added an additional 6 or 7 hours to the pair's travel time. The FBI did not yet have the DNA sample or cell phone records that would ultimately be presented to the judge who signed off Kohberger's arrest warrant, however, so they needed to keep a watch on Kohberger. The report does not detail the events that precipitated the FBI losing Kohberger, only the aftermath. A mood of panic rapidly escalated into one of despair. Frantically, they began to search the records of automated license plate readers in nearby states. It was an exercise in futility. Nothing, not a single hit. Police got a big break, however, 14 hours later, when Kohberger's new Washington state plates were captured in Lomo, Colorado, by a number plate recognition device. Agents then told Kohberger back home to Pennsylvania and hit yet another hurdle when law enforcement stopped the PhD student twice for tailgating in the span of 20 minutes in Indiana. The agents were frustrated and they were angry. The possibilities were too dangerous. The main problem, shared law enforcement officials with an arm's length familiarity with the FBI surveillance operation, was the watchers' helpless passivity. All they could do was observe from a distance and wonder. 2 weeks later, Kohberger would be arrested and extradited, and in June, he will be formally charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of the 4 University of Idaho students. His public defender in Pennsylvania released a statement saying, Mr. Kohberger has been accused of very serious crimes, but the American justice system cloaks him in a veil of innocence. He should be presumed innocent until proven otherwise, not tried in the court of public opinion. Members of law enforcement are not able to respond to requests for comments due to a non-dissemination order filed in this case.
He was in Loma,
So
Colorado on the 14th.
Mm-hmm. So they lost it for that day. Interesting, huh? Because you said that from the beginning. Hey, Meatfoot, how they did very much go out of their way for that already brutal cross-country trip.
Which it can be explained, but like Glenjamin said, I definitely believe he was avoiding tolls.
Do we know if that path did avoid tolls?
Well, I mean, he hit one, clearly. Or, I mean, at least a plate reader. I don't know where all they would have a plate reader other than a toll, but if you watch the in the PCA, if you really track all the movements of that car, he's taking all the back roads. He goes one way there and a different way kind of back.
December, Detrad. Well, and he got his car serviced at the end of the trip instead of checking your oils and everything before you drive across the country.
Yeah, I was always taught that if you go a long distance, you get your car checked before, at least. I mean, I can see why you would do it after too, but
I don't
at
think
least
he'd
before.
want to stop anywhere, given that just a week before that is when they came out looking for this white Elantra, and so he wasn't about to, in his area, go to a local shop to get the car serviced.
Yeah, but I still think he was taking that car and was not planning on bringing it back.
I don't know, Detrad. Hey, Jasper, don't laugh at her name. It is a lie.
Wolfie is better.
I think, Will TB, that he was planning on leaving that Elantra in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
It's like the one thing Wolfie agrees with me on. I think he was planning on leaving it there. I think that they just came out with Ebola, and like he's like, huh, this is the perfect opportunity. Let me drive this baby all the way back to Pennsylvania and leave it there, so it is not in the area.
Yes.
No, they didn't. So the car eye roll? No, that's a different case. That's what I think, Clutch. I mean, that's why I'm like, I think it was always planned that he went home for the holidays. It was the very first holidays for him being away. But I don't think it was planned for him to drive that freaking car all the way across country. That took up a lot of his break. You would think it's the holidays, it's break. I don't want to spend all of this time driving. Oh, interesting, Yvette. That's what I think. I think he was probably telling his parents, like, listen, I don't use, because this was his first semester there. It's his first time. Like, listen, I don't use the car as much as I anticipated. You know, I'm going to leave it back. Whatever excuse he told them. And so his dad's like, I'm not going to make you take that whole trip back. Let me fly out. We'll take the trip together. And he wasn't going to bring that car back. About, well, they were tailing him. It's very interesting. Oh, Amanda, were you here? You weren't here in the beginning. So Kim is legitimate. And when we say legitimate, we don't know if what she's alleging is legitimate, but Kim is a WSU mom who has 2 children who go to WSU, and Maddie did follow her daughter on social media. Kaylee didn't. We don't know about Xana because Xana's was private. But that part checks out. She is a legitimate person. Because of that, at that time, they didn't have his DNA or his phone records. They didn't have enough to, like, they couldn't stop him. Have the fast track lanes, and they have cameras making sure the cars have paid to use. Oh, I remember when I was a teenager, Lisa Lee, I went through a fast toll lane without a fast toll, or whatever they're called. And I got a ticket in the mail like a week later. I didn't know what it was. It was like the first time I was driving like out, and I was like, this line is so much shorter than the other lines. I'm going through this one. And I didn't realize it was for the fast pass or whatever it's called. Not a fast pass. That's like an amusement park. What is it called? Easy pass. Easy pass. And I'm like, look how much shorter this line is. Why is anyone opting to go to the other long ass lines? Yeah, that's because it was the easy pass line. I think, Meatfoot, that there's a little truth, but that truth may already be based on misinformation. I think everybody in that area was talking. And so she related to her mom the same way Kaylee's mom originally got a call saying that they thought Kaylee got shot. Like, there was a lot of talk going on. But the question is, it is the biggest question is, when were friends summoned? When were friends first notified? I know, I'm living on the wild side, 87. Person, because there's no way students at both campuses knew at 10 that morning. Yeah, it did. Chicken flavored waffle, Love and Lucifer. That is an interesting name, by the way. I didn't know what that. I had no idea, Lisa Lee. I just see 8 lines of like backed up cars and then 1 short line of moving cars, and I'm like, I'm going to that line. I had no idea you needed an easy pass. Insight. I was speaking for kids. Contrary Marge, I don't think she's speaking for her kids. I think she's speaking for herself. And if what she's saying is legitimate, is her truth. If it's her truth, she's messing up the case. Why would you release those details? You're also now putting your children in danger. Who's chicken flavored?
Who's to say that they didn't try to get his DNA in Washington? We don't know that they didn't.
That's
but
true.
he was clearly, wearing gloves when he went to places. He was very cautious. So we don't know, but we do know that after that DNA match, like with the suspects from his dad's, then he was arrested. That was like the last little piece that they wanted.
It would have been easier. Yeah, but you know what? Yes, would it have been easier?
It was easier
if
to get the
Sure.
dads, in my opinion. And they didn't have the dad in Washington, really. They lost. We just said that they lost track of him, right? His dad had just gotten there, and they lost track of him until the Loma.
They could have asked. Did they ask? Who asked Brian?
You don't do that.
No.
Didn't you just say that they didn't want to? Well, I guess we said that
Well,
to
we said we
spook
didn't want
him.
to spook him. I don't
Yeah.
think they're gonna go to him and say, "Hey, Brian, we think you may be the guy who committed these quadruple murders. Can you lick this stamp?" Because I don't think that's how. I mean, unless they were bringing him in for like formal questioning and things like that, and they asked, "Hey, would you like to submit to a DNA test?" I don't think they were going that route. I think they had enough on him at that point, and he's a potential risk, flight risk, getting. I don't know. Your car is spotted in the area. Because they were still waiting on the phone pings. You have to remember that they didn't even get the phone data back yet. He was already in Pennsylvania by the time they got that phone data back. No, the only thing, Glenjamin, that she released and the drunk turkey put on is her phone bill, alleged. In what way, Yvette? I'm able to speak out of all sides of my mouth. I'm a very good speaker. But in what way? But what's it called? All he produced was a Verizon summary of a phone bill that on
Exactly, niece.
the 14th showed that she called the hotline for 30 minutes. If that is indeed her phone records, it is her phone records. Well, at least you could verify that is her phone number, the same digits. But again, it could be fabricated holding. We don't know. So wait,
you hold him for what?
You can't hold him yet because they didn't have enough. They did not have his phone records. They did not have everything. They did not have the DNA at that point, and they did not have the phone records. So at that point, you don't have enough to hold him. So what you're saying is ask him to come in to submit to DNA and hold him when they don't have that DNA comparison yet. They only had the car spotted. That is it. They didn't have the phone pings, and they did not have the DNA. That's not enough to hold him. And if they did hold him, they would only, you have to also understand, once you hold it, you only have now X amount of time to produce the charges, and you have to go with only what you have. But that's not enough of that.
Isn't that what happened with Barry Morphew?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Once you formally arrest someone like that, there's a ticking time clock that starts to go. And you have to, that's the same thing with the Leilani case. As soon as they arrested her, that's it. You need to produce everything you have within like 48 hours, I think it is, or else they get let go.
I'm with Niece.
Yeah, they needed that DNA.
Your car? No, it's not enough.
Because you can't tie him to the car. You can't even tie him to the car, Yvette. Having the car near the scene of the crime on the night, I'm sure they have a bunch of cars near the scene of the crime. They may have knew of that, but you can't arrest someone and say, hey, I know it's you. You need to prove it's him. That's the difference. Like, they need to jump through all of these hoops.
Go look up Barry Morphew and see what happened with Barry Morphew.
It doesn't matter. They can't prove even that was Brian in front of the house. Don't you understand? Because if we're going based off the car, all you're doing is proving that his car
but wait,
was in front of the house. That's it.
Didn't you already say that his car was at the gas station at the same time?
That's true. if we're going by what you're claiming,
which
he
I'm
could
not,
say
but I'm just
he
going.
was- no, not you,
No,
Yvette.
I know. I'm just saying.
Well, they didn't at that time, Dr. Ed. They did not have the phone data yet. So she's saying, why didn't they pull Brian in back when he was still in Washington? A comedian or a commodian?
I was confused.
I'm not trying to
sorry.
be, but
I'm
for
sorry.
real, like it is not enough. You want to pull him in before they have DNA, before they have the phone information. Based on seeing his car there, you can't place him in that car, though. You can't place him in the scene of the crime. All you could do is place his car around the scene of the crime, bring him in on questioning, and then ask him for DNA. They really needed the DNA. I don't know.
Nice.
I've never been called a Cambodian before.
Nice. Oh my god.
But they couldn't, Yvette, because oh my goodness.
Do you know how they got?
We
the
don't know if
DNA?
he was even putting out the trash. Don't you know he was wearing gloves? He was wearing gloves at the supermarket. He was placing trash in the neighbors when he was all the way across the country. How do you think he was at his own place? We don't know what the circumstances were. Maybe they attempted to get his DNA. We don't know if they did or didn't. Just because it doesn't clarify doesn't mean he didn't. I don't know what a commode girl is. Whether it's an insult or a compliment, I'll take it. That's okay.
I feel like it's not a compliment.
I would assume it's not, but I'll take it either way. Hold on, let me Google a commode. Probably means an idiot or something. Hold on. Commode.
Is it
Commode.
toilet?
Yep. Toilet? Hold on.
Toilet?
Hold on. Are you calling me a toilet? Are you calling me a sack of shit? A piece of furniture containing a concealed chamber pot? Am I a commode? I actually like that insult. I think I might take it from you. I don't know. The joke's not of that. I don't care if there were 3 people listening. That does not bother me. My worth is not determined by a number. I am not one of those creators that says, oh, well, how many do you have on chat? If you want one of those creators, there are plenty. Do not get upset because we're using the facts and we're not going based off misinformation. You want to call me a commode or a concealed chamber pot? Go for it. But I'm not going to become JLR. I'm not going to become Joseph Morris. Yeah. Are their numbers higher? Sure. But it's misinformation. If that's what you're looking for, go over to Truth and Transparency. Go over to JLR. But you're not going to get here with that. Not doing it. I'll be a chamber pot all day. Come have a seat. I'll tell you a lot.
Be careful with your name, though. I'll tell you that.
A commode. I like it. I am the
Bye.
least closed-minded person. That's so funny.
Mwah.
Anybody who knows me knows I am not closed-minded at all. But okay. Bye. I don't mean because fucking numbers do not determine my worth. And I've told you guys this before. Just because a channel is huge does not make them credible. There are plenty of very small channels that are more credible than those larger channels. Just because you're able to obtain body cam footage and you strike anybody who uses it and you blow up overnight does not make you credible. You get that, right? Just because you fabricate an audio scream of a quadruple murder and you blow up does not make you credible. You get that, right? Jeez Louise. Well, it's not even a conspiracy. I'm a conspiracy person. I separate that from current true crime cases. It's misinformation. It's fucking clickbait. If that's what you want, if you want JLR who takes a photo of one angle of a car and puts it out as the Elantra when it's not even a Hyundai, sure. Is it going to bring people in because they're going to click on that because they want to know? Sure. I'm not going to be one of those. She has blood on it, so she's either new to the case. Oh, Glungeman, that would make sense. Well, the same way that she's saying his phone, he's only seen on camera one time outside the murder house. Well, if you were here and you understood the PCA or read it, you would know, Yvette, that his car was seen on multiple cameras going to the murder and leaving. Like, if you don't know your facts, don't get mad at me and call me a freaking chamber pot because of it. Ain't my problem. But I do like that insult. Like, I do. It was different. I like when people are different. I don't even know if that's what she was meaning to say. It seemed like she was saying, oh, you're a comedian, but it was Commodian and then Cambodian and then commode. I'm just going to go with the commode. She meant commode. It was creative, Gludgeman. She gets points for being creative.
And I do like pretty numbers. Amanda is right.
I don't like when people use that to determine.
Oh, no, I mean handwriting.
Oh, pretty number. No.
That's what she's talking about.
Likes numbers. Like, oh, look how many.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't care about that shit.
But she's talking about, like, handwriting the numbers. If they have pretty handwritten numbers.
Thank you, Bean Gypsy. I appreciate that. I mean, listen, like, you have the choice to make as a creator. You really do. And the choice is, if you want to be clickbait, if you want to do what you have to do to make your channel grow, or you put out facts. They're two totally different choices, honestly. And unfortunately, more growth happens when you put bullshit out. That's just the truth. But like, I'm not doing that. I won't do that. I won't be one of those.
I don't think that she liked the whole telling us that we talk out of, or you talk out of both sides of your mouth. But then
I talk out of all sides.
I pointed out that you already said that his car was over here, so why would you arrest him for his car being over there? But you just said his car was over here, and that was a conflict, right? So I didn't understand that part. Like, that was her logic at the beginning, so why did it change on this?
Well, the way I see it, and just because I'm not agreeing with you or I'm throwing facts, doesn't mean we're fighting. I could do that all day long. I just speak passionately. But don't get all offended, and then leave. I mean, but please, go over to Lana's. It feels like you'll be more welcomed over there. That seems more your thing. Oh, Radiant, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, that's what I'm saying. See, just go back to your kind. That's fine. Thank you, 87. I appreciate it. That's what I was saying, Radine. She called me. It says commode. A piece of furniture containing a concealed chamber pot. And
I changed my name just for her.
Sorry. I'm hiding a chamber pot somewhere on my persons. You will never know where. You changed your name?
Mm-hmm. Did I spell it like she did? I was trying to spell it like she did. I couldn't remember.
She spelled it wrong, but
I know. I was trying to spell it the wrong way.
I know, Gigi. I liked it though. It was funny. It was funny. Chamber pots stick together. I love all you guys. All you guys are my pieces of shit. Yeah, taxes. Lana will tell you exactly what's not happening. Exactly. Oh, it's nice that people are really sorry, I don't want to get into her, but it's nice that people are starting to realize who they're dealing with. Yes, Amber. Great. Great. I'm going to add a new membership emoji, and it's going to be a commode. I'm so happy. The portable toilet pieces they use for security. That is totally me. She's right. Guilty as charged. Oh, that's funny. But she said Cambodian at first. I'm so confused. Oh, you're a Cambodian. Commode. It was rude but creative. Exactly, Gigi. She gets points for being creative. That's it. Thank you, Radiant. It sounds better. I'm not a chamber pot. I'm a commode, bitches. Commode gang. I love it. Oh, God. Well, I'm sure
She'll
that's
be
the
back.
last time we'll see Yvette.
No, she'll be back.
She'll be back. She's one
She'll
of
be back.
those.
They always come back.
She'll be back. Like
She's
you
probably
throw-
still lurking right now.
Oh, hell yeah. And then you say, well, you only have 117 people. You're one of them. Took up for addiction was so impressive. Oh, thank you so much, Anonymous. I appreciate that. And welcome. I love a good commode. You know what? What is that thing that washes your butt?
A bidet?
Yes. You're all my bidet. You all keep my shit clean, and I love you so much. Yeah, exactly, Michelle. She'll be in the comment section later telling me how wrong I am, but that's okay. There's always that one. There's always that one. But at least have your facts straight. Like, we could have differing opinions all day. That's totally fine. But what I don't like is when the people don't know the actual facts yet. And it's like, you can't speculate if you don't even know the facts. And then to make me pull up the whole PCA, read all those paragraphs, and then to come back and be like, okay, I'm back. What did you say? And it's like, I went through all of that to tell you. And yeah, so it's whatever. Yes, it was Nace. Oh, you mean that was, I don't know, Nace. I was going to say Brazilian Girl was that one person last week. Oh, man. But yeah, I think, let me see. Oh, so there's one other thing I wanted to go over with you guys. And because it's making its way like kind of around. What's a Brazilian grill? What? Is that where you cook in front of you? Like, those look good. I've seen like TikToks on them. They're yummy. Tattoos. I mean, you could hook up a bidet very, very easily. I've seen videos. It's amazing what you could like watch on the internet, you guys. Like, I'm convinced if you were in an airplane and it was going down, okay, and they're like, please, is there a pilot on board? You can find a YouTube video in a 2-minute or less fashion to teach you how to land an airplane. And you can do it.
Hi,
You can
Angie.
learn anything. You can learn anything on the internet. Hi, Angie. How are you? Look, I got the wolf. You can learn how to do anything on the internet. Good night, Annalicia.
Bye, AKP.
No, it's not when you actually a Brazilian grill, like when you put the pork and you cook it in
Girl,
front of
not
you.
grill. You know, I'll text you. I'm not gonna say it.
You see her, Angie?
It's me.
Do we have a Harold?
Woofy.
Don't. I will start cracking up. Harold is always in my feed, always, and I can't not watch it when I scroll past of it. It better be 2 to 3 minutes long because that's only how long the passengers have oxygen for. No, for real. You can. Hi, Willemeister. You can learn anything on YouTube. Like, I need to learn how to land this airplane. No problem. There's going to be 80 uploads in the last 2 days of how to do it. So I don't know why I was getting into that. I think it had to do with the commode. But, oh, yes. there's very easy steps of how to hook up what is it called again?
A bidet.
A
My dad
bidet.
and them, all their toilets have bidets on them. I don't use them, but it freaks me out a little bit. But very
I'd like
easy,
a
very
bidet.
easy.
But yeah, I saw this one guy who has an aquarium in his fish tank. I think it's abusive.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You saw it?
Yeah, on
When
TikTok.
you flush.
Yeah, he said that they used to get scared, but they're used to it now.
Yeah.
And I was
It's
like, what?
really messed up.
That's
He
mean.
converted his
And they're
toilet
very in a
tank.
very small space.
Yes. And they have to fucking watch you shit.
Yeah. Poor fish. Got it rough.
He took his toilet tank and changed it to an aquarium tank. And so like every time you flush, 90% of this fish's water just disappears.
No, it's a different part. It's
I
the
know.
lining part.
I
but
know. But like it's nasty. There's a bunch of poop particles. Like that is messed up.
He says that that they used to get scared but now they're used to it. And then what was the other thing? He was trying to like add some in there too. I don't remember, but he says when he flushes, it looks like they're flying. And I was like, yeah, I don't think that's very cool for your fish.
I just think it's abusive. It's messed up. Is it cool? Oh yeah, it looks cool. Yeah, sure. For like the first moment, but then like every time I'd be pooping, I'd be looking behind me, like these fish are touching me. Like, stop looking at me. It's just messed up. I would not put it there. Yeah. Have you guys ever seen like the science shows that take your toothbrush and test it to see how many poop particles transfer onto it just from being in the bathroom, and then they moved the toothbrush and took one in like in the kitchen, like it makes its way all the way.
Well, you
out.
always close the lid before you flush it. You don't do that?
Wolfie, poop particles get in the air. A fart.
I understand, but I still even like if anybody comes over, you have to shut the lid. You know, snakes come out of the toilet, right?
Oh, not here. We don't have that here.
Still, it's just my fear.
Right
so that lid will stay shut.
Something jumped right up bit me. Sorry, it's a forest reference. But no, we don't have snakes in our toilets here.
No, like for me, it must be shut at all times. Always. Especially when you flush.
Is a snake really going to creep up your drain? That sounds kinky a little
Google
bit.
it. Google it.
No, I've heard of it. We don't have that here, though. You'll have a rat steal your slice of pizza here, but we don't have snakes in our toilets.
They can have all my pizza. I don't like pizza. Italian
we got really far off subject. You know, very far off subject. Okay. Oh yeah, toothbrush covers are a must. A must. Okay. So this is the other part I wanted to get into real quickly, because a lot of people are going on about the deaths that are in relation to on campus, and it's Luke Tyler's death. So it says WSU launches investigation after freshman's body was found in Pullman campus dorm. So Washington State University has asserted that they are working with investigators and a coroner to find out the reason behind a freshman's death. The remains of Luke Tyler were reportedly found on January 22nd inside the Perman Hall dorm on the university's Pullman's campus. Though the 19-year-old death's cause as well as manner are not known yet, investigators have currently ruled out any foul play. Besides, a statement has also been issued by Phil Wheeler, who is the vice president for marketing and communications at Washington State University. According to Weller, whenever a student death occurs, WSU has a specific protocol it follows with procedures that are put in place out of respect for both the families and the investigative process. The university will not disclose any information that could inadvertently disrupt the work of the coroner's office or law enforcement officials. He continued, the coroner's office is the agency responsible for releasing the name of the descendant. The coroner's office also determines determines the cause and manner of death. The WS is working with the coroner's office to investigate the student's death as it would with any death on campus, before warning against any controversial theory or speculations. There has been a significant amount of conjecture regarding the circumstances surrounding this incident and the actual cause of the student's passing. I would caution the public against speculation at this point in the investigation. The facts in this case determines the cause. The facts in this case are still being gathered. It could be several weeks before the coroner's office determines the cause and manner of death. I want to ensure that the investigation can proceed unimpeded, the statement by Wheeler concluded. This comes as a petition has been initiated to demand justice for Tyler. The Change.org plea alleged that the young man died. Why does it keep moving? Because of a long and cruel pledging process allowed by his fraternity, Theta Chi. Their inhumane and cruel hazing forced Luke and many others to do things no one would be forced to do. We demand that Theta Chi be investigated, shut down, and the fraternity's president, as well as pledge masters and others with power in the fraternity, be investigated for their involvement with the death of Luke Tyler. Luke was truly an amazing person with an incredible effect on everyone whose life he touched. He deserves justice. Please bring awareness and sign this petition to help our cause and help bring WSU's attention to this issue so that those responsible see appropriate consequences and to help prevent anybody else from getting hurt. Besides a GoFundMe, which has received $11,233 for Tyler's funeral, the message on it read, "We are overwhelmed with the immense generosity, compassion, and kindness you have shown to Luke and our family through your donations. With your donations, it is our intention to pay for his memorial service and make a large donation in his name to a cause that he cared a lot about. We are looking into options that will allow us to pay his legacy of kindness forward. At this time, we are going to turn off the GoFundMe until we have more details on what charity we will choose." So the reason I read that is because a lot of people are making comparisons. Oh, thanks, Michelle. Commode gang gang. Sorry. Oh no, Amber, I'll mention that too. Thank you so much, Michelle, for the super chat. I appreciate it. People are making connections with other deaths on campus to the Idaho murders. And is it possibly some type of hazing, sorority, fraternity thing that are going on that's a cover-up? Now, I don't know. Oh, Radine, thank you too. I didn't see yours. Commode Fund. I love it. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. I appreciate it. Thank you. That's funny. Hi, Princess Megan Elsa. I don't think it has any relation. What do you think, Wolfie?
No relation at all.
I just think people are trying to make connections that aren't necessarily there.
Agree.
But I will show you what Amber was sending. So there's a girl who is in love with Brian. In love with Brian.
I had a TikTok of her too, but I'm sure whatever Amber sent, it's probably around the same thing. It's pretty funny. Pretty gross. Creepy.
So it's, yeah, this girl wrote, and oh, Jesus. She wrote, "Since my last post, I seen a new video of Brian's court appearance today, and the video was from the channel called Live Now from Fox. When I seen it, it showed it was posted an hour ago. I hasn't seen anything about it prior to my last post. With what I mentioned in my last post about parents and my mother, I want to say that some people find certain topics like that embarrassing, and some people have experienced at some point in their lives feeling embarrassed of their parents or other relatives, and some may have grown out of it. But I never want to feel like I can't share certain thoughts and feelings of mine on here because, for example, I'll seem undesirable to a man that I like to romantically, and he may possibly have had an interest in me prior to mentioning some of my thoughts, life experiences, and feelings. But then he found out things that make him not like me. Someone should be upfront about themselves instead of trying to hide certain things that they feel they will be ridiculed and disliked for, and know that anyone that is right for them is going to want them still after they've mentioned certain things and possibly want them more due to it. You never know what certain words and actions will result in some instances. But when you allow yourself to be authentic and know that anyone you lose due to it means they weren't right for you, then you are doing it the right way. I know you can still choose to keep some things private, though. One thing that I think of is how when someone puts an effort to be invested emotionally in someone and invests their time as well, and that person ends up being someone that was worthy of all that and is trustworthy towards you, it's ideal if things between you two play out and end on how you'd like them to, and all your efforts and work you invested in them was worth it. But when it comes to love and relationships, if you like someone romantically and are interested in them and are attracted to them, although you all could be compatible, there could be reasons why there could be reasons why they wouldn't want to get involved with you. I don't want to lose sight of the seriousness of Brian's situation. And when I think of people harming him and having no mercy on him and being inhumane, I know that it affects me. And although he's innocent until proven guilty, if he did do that for reasons that are unknown to people, some people won't understand why I'd be the caring ways that I am towards him and would think that he deserves things that I wouldn't agree with and that would concern me for him. But when I say that if he is guilty, it can mean that I don't have a certain level of certainty and faith that he's innocent. When I know there's a chance that when people are accused of certain things and it seems like they did it and they're actually innocent, it could be an eye-opener. And when you give Brian the benefit of the doubt and see him as innocent, it could be much different than seeing him as guilty. It could be hard for some to see him as innocent if they believe in the evidence and that he hasn't been framed. But as I've mentioned in past posts, even if he is guilty, if he was an older age, he may have never done that since people can make better decisions when they're older. And I believe that to be true and wise. If someone makes a mistake of taking another's life and it then ruins their life as well, it can mean that they possibly let some, kind of emotions get the best of them. But I believe that some people that have been executed were done that way unfairly when you look at others' crimes that were worse, but they didn't get that penalty. I know that people cannot agree with me when I say certain things like that, and they can even criticize me. But I know that anytime I care about some people in humane ways, it's something positive for me. I know that I never want to be responsible for making someone take an action that's wrong and inhumane towards Brian. For example, because they read something I said about him on here. The truth is that when I love someone, I can love them deeply and wholeheartedly. And it's, of course, ideal for them to be someone's worthy of, and that, sorry, she has really bad writing, worthy of that from me because of how they'd be towards me authentically. But even if everything isn't perfectly ideal in how they'd be towards me, if they're not doing things towards me that I know are very wrong and that I disagree with strongly, then it's positive for me to have genuine feelings of care, concern, and love towards them. Although when you mention the word concern, it can be seen as something that, although is associated with caring, involves something that has negative associations too. Even though I don't know for sure how Brian would feel for me, some people may not know how important finding my true love has been for me for years. Some people that have followed me for years on here would know how often I've mentioned it in various posts. And with me, honestly, having the thoughts and feelings that I've had for him, they may know how significant that this is for me. I've mentioned before that people can have crushes and relationships prior to meeting their actual true love, who is one that they'd be most compatible with and have the romance of a lifetime with, although some aren't fortunate in life to meet their perfect match. Some may not believe me, but with the information I've learned about Brian, although I haven't seen proof of his birthday and have only heard about when it is, It makes him different than others that I've ever had a crush on. Sorry, that was literally like basically one long run-on sentence, and it was really bad grammar. But yeah, basically this girl is in love with Brian. She writes Brian like a letter every day. We don't know if he has written back yet. And I don't like how she's like, oh, well, when you're young, you make mistakes. A quadruple murder of this magnitude isn't like, oh, life lessons. If you were older, you'd be wiser. Like, come on. No. But it just showed, like, I absolutely expect and anticipate Brian to be just like Bundy, just like one of these that girls fawn over him. Hey, Christy. It definitely weirdo. Well, I believe that, Radine, 100%. I believe that there is sketchy shit that goes on. I've had families in, I've had family members that are in a fraternity, and the shit he told me that went on, I couldn't believe it. And so, yes, I do think that some instances may be cover-ups and may be more to the story. But do I think this specific cases? Not at this time. Not at this time. Because there's too much information so far that points in the other direction, and there's not enough information that points in the direction of some type of cover-up or sorority fraternity thing going on. Oh, absolutely, Radine. Absolutely. You agree, Wolfie?
What?
She's not even paying attention to me. She's just here for moral support.
I
Yeah.
think the lady's crazy. Is that agreeing?
That's not what we were talking about. We were talking about shady things going on in sororities and fraternities, but I don't think that plays a role in this particular case.
I don't either.
But I do believe it. It happens.
Yes, I do too. I think it happens more than people even know. But
Yeah.
I don't think it is relevant to this case now.
No. But yep, I think that's pretty much all I have for you guys tonight. I appreciate Wolfie for you being on. I appreciate Yvette. I've never been called a commode before, but I like that. I honestly do. Like, if you're gonna insult, like, be creative. Exactly, Deathred. Right, Benjamin, wake up, Wolfie.
Sorry, I was busted.
She's not paying attention. This is what she does on the phone all the time. Like, I tell her a million and one things, and then she'll be like, hey, did you hear about the thing you just told me about? No, yeah, okay. No problem. I will be the best commode. I will make this promise for you guys. I promise to always be the best chamber pot that I could possibly be for you guys. I will only bring the most high quality of shit to this channel. I promise to always wipe our asses. Okay, I got you guys. But really, I appreciate every single one of you. I love hearing all of your guys' theories and opinions. I do have trivia tomorrow. I may be on a little bit earlier. I wanted to kind of cover updates of different things going on in other active cases right now. And then Wednesday, I'll be back on for another deep dive on the discussion. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for keeping things classy, not trashy. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye. See, I did it too.